episode 27, Act 2 the podcast. International Walk in the House. What's up, people? How we doing out there? Episode 27, Act 2 the podcast. We are back. Another week, another episode. It's your boy International Walk with my beautiful, beautiful wife and co-host.
It's your girl Tosh.
Tell the people your name. Where you from?
Your girl Tosh, the co-hostess with the mostest.
We're going to get that trademark too. They're probably going to tell us somebody in Nebraska said it first, but it's all good.
No, it's me.
We back. Like I said, last week's episode was dope. Hope y'all checked it out. Appreciate the views, the likes, the shares, the comments. There was a lot going on in last week's episode. But it was dope.
Had some beef.
Yeah, it was good. It was a little contentious, and we didn't even know it was going to be, but it was, and it made for a good podcast. And it was all good. It's always love, but this is the place where we're gonna have those moments, and we're gonna have some lovable moments, some cryable moments, some laughable moments, and some contentious moments.
I'm a G. I don't cry.
She is a fucking stone. Like she.
No.
You know what's weird? She's a crier when her feelings is hurt. But some happy shit going on, some sad shit going on. Stone.
It just takes a... Well,
no, I gave her a card the other day and she cried. A tear or two dropped out. She didn't cry.
Do you be wanting me to cry?
No, but it'd be like, damn.
No, it'd be certain
how much
stuff
is...
that...
When I see you cry at other stuff, it's like, damn, that shit really... hit her soul. But then when I do something for you and you don't cry, it's like, all right, missed.
But I don't usually cry for happy stuff. I mean, I will in some instances. So it's not that I never have, but I'm more so like happy stuff. My cheeks hurt because I'm smiling so hard. Like you said, if my feelings is hurt, if I'm sad, if somebody that I love feelings is hurt, like it's more the sad stuff that makes me cry. I'm not a happy cry. And then some sad stuff, like what were we watching the other day? Oh, it was one of those videos where the guy was mean to the boy selling the ties. And
I was bawling.
I look over and you're crying.
And
like...
I saw it 3 times. And cried every time. I'm just,
I'm extremely emotional, but I think I compartmentalize my emotions. Like...
It makes it seem, no shots, but it makes it seem fake. Because it's like, I'm going to pick the things to cry about. Like you weaponizing tears. No. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
But I've come along. I used to cry over everything.
Yeah, you did.
I had to, I come a long way.
But, so we back. And how y'all doing out there? Hope y'all good. Hope everybody healthy. Hope y'all week was good. Hope nobody had bad health or nobody's family, in dire straits.
And if they are, we pray for you guys.
Yeah, even if they are, we will say a prayer for our audience. But we're here. So, how you doing?
I'm here.
No, how you doing? This is the day where we're gonna do we haven't done a mental check in a few episodes.
Wow.
So, life check, work check, mental check, money check.
Oh, okay.
So, life check, where you at?
I guess on a scale of 1 to 10 in the
That's the scale.
Scheme of things, I'm probably an 8.
Okay. Could it be better?
It could be better. Just raising kids is hard. And of course, everybody knows we don't raise any directly, but having kids in our life that we love, and when they go through things, do things, you want to like beat them to the ground. And sometimes it's warranted, but at the same time, that doesn't fix everything, and you just want to love on them, and it causes confusion. Like for to be what would I call it? Like a pseudo parent. Like our kids is my sister's kids, but being a pseudo parent is still like
that's like a fake.
So a fake parent. Okay,
yeah, that's what pseudo means. Like, so you can't say pseudo. That's the wrong context. If you was calling somebody like a fake scientist, you would say like they're a pseudo-scientist.
Okay.
But there's no pseudo-parents.
All
Not
right.
you anyway.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. Just, just loving on them. And so I guess that's where I am. Like, yeah, it could be better, but it could be worse. I'm
Work
mad at
check.
it. F that job. I'm going back tomorrow, but F that job. No, I mean work. So there are some things that I've started to do for
Gotta give me a
myself
number first.
for my own personal work. I would say is probably, sheesh, a 6. But there's some things that I started doing for myself. You know what I realized? These companies hire you to do a job, but they really want you to do the job, like 3 jobs in one, or just work. I won't say do 3 jobs in one. Work in a capacity of 3 people.
What's your number for work?
I would say did I say I said a
You
6?
say any number.
A 6.
6. It was 6 for work.
So one of the things that I started doing for myself, multitasking is good, when necessary. You got to, do a couple things at once. But I'm not going to allow my job to put me in a position where I am always multitasking, because then I feel like I'm not working to the best of my ability, because a little piece of me is here, a little piece of me is here, a little piece of me is here. And while I'm placating everyone else and answering their questions, or making sure their deliverables are received on time, I'm driving myself insane. I'm working on something, but this person pops up to ask me an IM, and I'm working on something, and I stop to send this person respond to this email, or I gotta leave open 7 emails because I know I gotta respond to all of these before the end of the day, and I don't want to close them. So
what I tell you about spreading yourself thin?
I know, and sometimes it's necessary, but I want to only do it when it's necessary, and I don't want it to just be the norm.
Newsflash, in my opinion, from me to you, it's never okay or necessary to spread yourself thin.
Well, right, not to spread yourself
Never.
thin, to multitask.
Yeah,
To
multitask is
yeah.
one thing. Doing, 2, 3 things at once is one thing. But it's never okay to put yourself in a situation where you thin.
Well, this is about work, but let me tell you this, right? So Toya just told me that her job, which is my former employer, which I was there for almost 10 years. I don't miss the job per se. I'm happy in my profession and the progress that I've had. One of the things I miss, I would be there for almost 20 years. You know how much PTO time I would have?
I don't know, but you stabbing me with your nails.
I'm sorry, but I digress. Their company just initiated a wellness holiday. They have a day off. It's not any holiday on the calendar. They gave them a day off, and they requested there's no phones, no emails, no chats, no meetings, log off from work. Don't be trying to finish no extra stuff, like a wellness day. Where is the suggestion box for every company in America to implement this? I think we need one once every 6 months, and that's outside of PTO time, not using your own PTO time, not using a sick day, in addition to the holidays, a wellness day. Especially because companies should realize, and maybe this doesn't necessarily apply to you, but it does, because you have the weight of COVID and all that stuff still on you. But even for people like myself who are working from home, yes, we both have it in different capacities. You're in the field, so you have to deal with people and worry about yourself and just worry about the world. I'm in the house, but that's still a different kind of pressure. Sometimes I get cabin fever. I don't want to go back to working in the office, but sometimes I get cabin fever. I still have to worry about COVID and sense of our family and life outside of work. 2020 just presented a huge, how when you see clouds in the sky and it comes down, and it may not rain everywhere at the same time, but we all see those clouds that come down a level closer than we usually see. So that's what it's like, a level of cloud that's over everybody that has not completely lifted. We all need a wellness day, and I am advocating for all companies to implement that. I'm right into my company.
Okay. Now that we got that straight, you got your shit off?
Don't y'all want a wellness day?
I gave her a moment to get her shit off, right? Y'all saw that, right?
Yeah. Don't you want a wellness day?
Stop hollering at me about the wellness day. It was in my ears. Yeah, it's just high.
I am excited about it.
Okay.
Excited at the potential.
Okay.
Wouldn't you like a wellness day?
I don't see where you see the potential at.
The potential
Your company ain't doing
and
it.
it coming to fruition.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak it into existence. Manifest it. Don't y'all believe in manifestation?
Okay. Can we get back on the
yes.
on the track?
All right. So that was my life. My work was
mental. You know what? Let's do that last.
Okay.
Financially, you good, right?
Financially, we're good. I would say we're at an 8. I feel like this falls on you, buddy.
What's that?
So he's very old school in the sense of, like the old people stashing money under the mattress. So not literally, but he's just very old school in that way. Like, if I have $2, I'ma save $1. If I have $10, I'ma save $5. And I'ma just allow that to stack up, which is nothing wrong with that. It's saving money. We've had conversations and more conversations and more conversations and more conversations about...
I probably was too many more conversations, but go ahead.
Okay, about expanding and venturing into investments in some small capacity. Now, I will say, just to level set with everyone, we are not gamblers. Like, not even a little bit. Like, a little bit in the sense I do like scratch-offs. And then probably once every 3 months we'll play the lottery. But we do... Are you trying to show me a note? Because I
want to get on with what I got going on for I lose my train of thought. I know.
All right, write a note for yourself so you can remember. I'm gonna say, I can't see that note. So anyway, let me make this fast. We're not gamblers. Get it? Don't go to the casino other than scratch offs and a lottery occasionally. That's probably the only gambling that we do. So I get in terms of investment, it really is gambling. But he'll watch programs or watch people talk and know like it is beneficial to you. And sometimes it's frustrating because he is the head of our household. We handle our finances together, but he's the CEO. And I'm okay with that. I'll say he's the CFO. And I'm okay with that. But
You're
sometimes...
the CEO though, right?
Yeah, I'm the CEO, you're the CFO, Chief Financial Officer. So we make decisions together, but you have the final say, and I'm all right with that because I ain't needing for nothing or wanting for nothing. But I want him to be a little more progressive in terms of our finances and taking a chance to help us, help our money grow. We do a great job at savings. That's all well and good. And our financial advisor, I kind of brought my financial advisor in on him like, hey, can you have a call? And he liked him. He liked the information he was providing.
I was wondering in this story where I was going to get a little credit because I'm about to say years ago I would have shut it down.
Yeah, he wouldn't even have talked to him. And he's like, I believe in supporting black people and all that, but this is a white guy that I've been working with and I like him. So that it is what it is. But
so don't add us.
Yeah, don't add us to, hey, I know this black financial advisor. Not saying there isn't some good ones, but right now I'm comfortable with the gentleman that I had.
And we got a black dude who sold us some man.
Don't go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. Anyway, so as far as finances, I would say we're at 8. No complaints there. But we could be at like a 12. If you just kind of pull that trigger.
And you
don't like for me to ride you about stuff.
No, and I need information, so I'm getting more information. My mind is open. I'm not totally closed off, and
okay.
Don't get choked.
All right, so we're at an 8. Yeah.
Mental,
I would say a 7, and I would probably say a 7 plus.
What can you do to make that better? Is this something I could do to make that better?
Just continue to be there for me in the way that you have, and no, that's really it. I'm learning to. I'm learning to have y'all know me, I always talk about prayer and God, and I do pray, but I'm learning to allow myself to surrender more to prayer and to have very specific prayers. And sometimes I realize my prayers may be a little distracted and I need to spend more devoted time with God. So I've been seeking that place. Like when people say go into the closet, like I've been seeking that place mentally, to really look for some guidance. And that's not just
actually do it literally.
Go in the closet?
Wherever. Go somewhere in the room, shut the door for 10 minutes and feel God, talk to him.
Well, pray. I do it when you're not here in the morning.
That's cool. I was just saying, if you can't, you don't got to be like figuratively in your head. If you got to go in the closets because you feeling overwhelmed or something, like get your ass in the closet.
Yeah, it's not even so much overwhelmed. Sometimes you just want clarity, direction, and you just want to be like, all right, God, I want to hear your voice. And that's it. So I'm a 7 plus. Like, and I'm not saying 7 in a gloomy way, a good 7.
So a 7 plus.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool.
What about you?
Me, I'm life. I would say about an 8. I think you know, I think my life is better than it was last week, and I like that. So yeah, I feel good. Things are good. It's about an 8. Yeah.
That's good. What about work?
Work is about an 8. I'm where I'm supposed to be, on schedule. Actually, I was 4 weeks ahead of schedule, but the electricians took some of that time back, fucking around. So, but I'm still good. So,
Why you ain't take no hooky days and stay home with me since you 4 weeks ahead? I can come and give you.
Stay 4 weeks ahead.
But if you take one day, you would just be like a little bit behind. Like I can come give you a lunch special.
Probably, but he wasn't. He wasn't looking for me recently.
I was looking for you the last couple of days.
Mental. I'm here all day. Mental, I would be. See, we kind of coincide with each other. I would be at like a 7 too, or no.
You skipped finance.
I did. Did you third on finance? Financially, same 8. We're good. You stressing me the fuck out about trips and birthdays and fucking Jordans and shit like that. So yeah, but I'm a pop you. What was the last one? Mentally, about a 7 plus a 8.
That's good.
Yeah, about a 7 plus a 8. So yeah.
Is there anything that I can do to help you improve, or in any of those areas other than finance? Because I'm not cutting out my shopping.
You are cutting out your shopping for a period of time so that allows
other
us to
than
do
finance.
things.
Can we look at the other categories first, please?
Do I need to get somebody on the phone? Because that was really rude.
No, I just said.
I got tape of it too.
Can we look at the other categories first?
No, I was just saying you was going to make a tiny sacrifice for me to allow us to do something. That's all.
Okay, I agree.
That's all I said. What's your wows this week?
My wow. Like
let's try to, not saying be short. I want to hear your wows, but sometimes she can get lost in the conversation a little bit.
And then sometimes they'll tell me, "Will you elaborate on that?" My wow, we had a good week. Saying that.
This is what I get: 0 or 10.
Look,
it's either one word or 1,000.
So last week, like you said, it was a little contentious, and we had to kind of like wave the white flag. And we don't gotta tell all our business, but we had to wave the white flag. We had to have a come to Jesus moment and take some steps to improve. We had to. It's like when you're not feeling well, you feel like something that's not right, you go see the doctor. So we had to like take some steps, and it snowballed into having a great weekend and really kind of gearing us back on track. Not to say, one thing that I love about both of us, and I'm sorry if I'm talking too long, I'm not a light switch, he's not a light switch. Like if I'm upset about something, he said he got to feel his feels. Now he may feel his feels a little longer than I feel my feels, but I'm not one to just brush stuff under the rug, and neither are you. So it's not to say, all right, everything is just over and done with. But we constantly progress.
We learn in our relationship that doesn't work for us.
No, because it's going to be boiling up in the inside.
Yeah, it just doesn't work for us. We've been down that road before, but we quickly noticed that we're going to be apart if we keep doing this.
Yeah, because when you suppress stuff like that and you don't speak up and say how you feel and get through it, because you shouldn't just try to get over stuff, get through stuff. For us, this ain't no relationship show. I ain't telling nobody how to operate in their relationship.
Stop stabbing me
I'm
with
sorry.
your nails.
I like my nails. Sorry. But that's what works for us. So, yeah. My
woes.
These damn kids. That's about all I'm going to say about that. It's just, kids. Life could be just going on and it's like, pow. Nope, surprise. Here's something more to stress about. Here you go. So that's about that. But they're healthy physically. I know, again, it's one of them things where in life you just hate to complain about stuff when things could be worse. But this is a pretty serious situation. So that's just the kids was like a whoa moment. But we got this. Our family is a village and we're going to do what we got to do. What was your wow?
My wow was on Saturday, like you were saying. Shit was a little contentious. I feel like we're always relationship good. Like we know where that is. Our breakdown sometimes be communication, and we need sometimes we need help with that. And Saturday it had got to a point where felt like we needed some help and went and got help. Thank God that we have family and resources to do so. Um, and that was good. It felt good. It was much needed. Um, there was a lot of talk, a lot of courageous moments on our part. But we, like you said, we got through it, and I liked it. It felt good, and immediately, um, like I said, I always feel misunderstood and not heard. And sitting down like that and talking, I instantly feel heard, and I instantly feel good after something like that. So that was a while that me and the love of my life can smile at each other and talk to each other. So that was big.
What
The
was your woe?
woe is.
Oh wait, oh well, I don't want to tell you, but go ahead.
Tell me my woe.
No, I was gonna say I was gonna say you had a second wow too. You had a
Oh shit. Yeah, I had a big wow. My daughter invited me. Shout out to Jada to see her first apartment, and I went there Saturday, and you know it was cool. It was nice. She got a nice place, nice little living room there. She got hardwood floors throughout. Nice paint job. Smelled good in there. She was in there hitting the Chiba.
don't be telling her
I'm
business.
sure her friends know she hit the Chiba, but she was in there hitting the Chiba. But that was cool. She's 24. She about to next year she'll be 24. But it was cool, man. I was happy to get that invitation, and every time I get it, I'll go over. I was happy to see her in person, see her face, touch her. So yeah, that was super awesome.
Don't always wait for the invite.
Well, I have to because if she ain't home, then I'm just showing up, and she's grown now. So
No, I don't mean just show up, but I mean it's like kind of it's okay. I think to ask not.
oh,
To,
I see.
yeah,
What you're
that's what
saying.
I
I'm
mean.
about to
Not
say,
like
I ain't
just
just
pop up
pulling
at
up, right?
nobody's
It's a
house.
grown
No,
person
no,
now. Like I
no,
can't do that.
no. I mean like
So yeah, that was a part of my wow. My woe was it's not much that I can do, but these kids, these goddamn
damn
kids, yeah,
kids.
these kids. So that's the woe, these kids, and that leads into without us getting into specifics. But this is where we come to truth and we be transparent. We don't have to be so transparent, honestly, because we just not going to be about that. But these kids, what's up with these young kids and young girls and teenage girls and Instagram and what they seeing and versus what they're doing and how it's messing them up.
You know what I think it is? It's one of those things where kids have resources that we didn't have, and who's to say what trouble we would have been getting in if we had phones and social media, whether it's girls or boys. Who's to say, you hear about boys and this violence that's happening because of social media beef and stuff like that. And if we were in that, if we had that same technology in our day and age, who knows what we would have been getting into. We were doing other things that got us in trouble, whether it was sneaking and watching porn or you sneaking in, your mom ashtray or something. I don't know if you was. I'm just
No, I
making it up.
was.
Yeah.
I used to, sneak joints, steal money out of her pockets. As far as like little girls and stuff, like I think about the stuff that I used to do, like be over a little girl's house who was 14, and we having little kid sex and not realizing that like grown people live here. Like your dad and your mom could come home, like, and just what an
Yeah.
adult can do to a kid in that situation, to see something like that going on with their kid. It'll be like you don't realize that as a kid. You just want to do what you want to do, but fuck, you in somebody's house, and you think about that when you get your own house and your own kid, and you think, damn, if I had a 12-year-old or 14-year-old and came home and she had some boy up in there with her pants and his pants down, like. Like that's crazy.
Well, and then you think like not like Lord, not even going that far as sex, but you think equivalent to what was like catch a girl, get a girl back in our day.
Mm-hmm.
You catch a little girl in the alley, you hump on her. You kind of let yourself get caught by a boy.
Yeah,
so
everything was muff to
bit.
muff and a little bit of butt.
You talking about skin?
No, like grind front to front.
Oh, well, you said muff to muff. I thought you meant like with pants down. I'm about to say no. I know. To say y'all was playing bad. Nobody pulling their pants down as a kid.
Well,
but you.
I got caught, but I'm talking about regular kids. I wasn't a regular kid.
I'm talking about grinding, which however you want to describe it. Little kids did stuff like that, boys and girls. The boys, you wanted to catch the girl you wanted to let yourself get caught a little bit. You fast forward 30 years and it's like, okay, is that equivalent to little boys sending pictures of their,
dick pics?
Wee-wees? I want to just say wee-wees. Well, I'll say wee-wees. You just call it with... yeah, is that equivalent?
I'm not gonna say wee-wee. It's the dick. It's dick. That's what it is.
Your little birds.
When they're sending the pics, they're saying, yo, you want a dick pic? They ain't saying you want a wee-wee pic.
Well, little girls sending little pictures. So, I mean, it's kind of like the progression of kids don't go outside to play no more. So catch a girl, get a girl. I don't even think that's a thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not a thing anymore. And even at that age, if we were, let's just say 12 to 15, because probably younger than that, you're too young. Older than that, you kind of got past that. 12 to 15-year-olds today are not, they're not playing outside. Like we used to play games, Steal the Bacon, where
5 Cent Lingo.
Yeah, red light, green light, Mother May I.
Hide and seek.
Yeah, so tag.
And we had those games, when our parents were young and sit out on the steps till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning talking to their friends, smoking and drinking. We could play out and have those kind of games all night long. And, well, you couldn't, but for hours we would play.
I had to be in the house like 8 o'clock.
My mom would sit on the steps until 1 o'clock in the morning, and as long as she could see us, we could be outside. Yeah. So that was, that was fine. But what do you think the issue in, like you as a girl, and I'm asking you from your perspective, but you was 13 once, like why do young girls are, leaning towards being promiscuous? Like, is it Instagram? Is it something you just feel as a 13-year-old? I heard that you said that in a conversation before. When you're young, your hormones are doing things. Like, is it just that? Is it that and what you're seeing and what you're exposed to? Or, like, what's the gamut with that? Like, what are you feeling at 13, 14?
Yeah, it's all of the above. It's all of the above. I don't know what is that age where that, you start feel. I think back to when I was in school. I had a little boyfriend. I'm going to say probably from like 4th grade up.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how old are you in 4th grade? 4?
No.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're in kindergarten. You're 5 years old. So in 4th grade, you're 9.
You're like 8, 9. Okay. Yeah. I had a little boyfriend, Bernard Scott.
He
said 4. Like, I wasn't a baby genius.
Like, you're not in the 4th grade before kindergarten. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a little boyfriend, 4th grade, 5th grade.
But was that something you was interested in?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like some boy said, like, we go together. Like, you was like, bet.
Let me tell you, this happened to me. And we are still friends on social media. I don't know if Terry I think Terry watches too, but me and Kateri have been friends since we were in the 4th grade. And she, my little boyfriend, they used to live around the same neighborhood. I didn't live around there. And there was another girl too who, we all were friends in school, but the three of them lived around the same neighborhood and I lived around our neighborhood. And I'll never forget when one day the other girl, her name was Malika, she came to me and she said, "Do you mind if when we go home, he is Terry's boyfriend?" Because he don't be having anybody to be with, and she don't have a boyfriend. So when we be with our little boyfriends, they just be alone by themselves. Like, this is in the 4th grade.
To borrow your boyfriend.
It was like, yeah, like when we go home, can that be her boyfriend? And then when we come back to school, that be your boyfriend. But
it's
I mean,
like on Friday, like it's both our bikes. I'm just gonna keep it down at my house.
Yeah, but it's like at that age, I mean, it wasn't unusual to be like, now what you did with your little boyfriend was, you weren't, I can't speak for everybody. I wasn't thinking about having sex.
Right, this is what I'm going at. Like, what was you feeling? Like, so I can get it firsthand from a
We
little girl.
might have been
like,
humping and pumping a little bit.
In the 4th grade?
Yeah.
You tramp, get out my face.
But I'm talking about like in the class where like, you in the coat
closet.
Right, and he walking by and it's like he's standing there a little bit longer and you let him stand there a little bit longer. Or you looking out the window.
Coming in his pants.
You looking out the window and he come up behind you to look out the window too, but he's standing right behind you. But I mean, that was like
the extent of it.
Yeah, and I wasn't kissing no little boys. Like, I don't think my first kiss was in 6th grade. I do remember that.
Okay.
My first kiss was in 6th. So then by that age, I was in middle school, Fitzsimons. So you're and I know girls and boys, their hormones evolve differently. But I don't think it's unusual. And this is why being a parent is difficult. I know some women who've had daughters and it was like no boyfriends. Like, we're not doing that. And you're not talking to no boys, like no boyfriends. Surprisingly, as strict as, I'm not going to say my parents, because my mom wasn't that strict. But it's surprisingly as strict as my dad was, I was allowed to talk to boys. Like, my little boyfriends used to call the house. Now, this was the difference, though, back in the day. You knew not to be talking nothing crazy because you'd be downstairs. And my dad would pick up the phone and be sitting there and be like, finish your conversation. Like, all right, so what, I'm on the phone. I want to hear what y'all talking about. And eventually, like, all my friends would know it and be like, hi, Mr. Whatever. But, like, so that, was a little difference in what your conversation was. And I wasn't even having, most of the time, you wasn't having no conversation. And what you doing? Nothing. What you doing? Nothing. What you watching? Whatever. What you watching? And then they be talking to their little friends in the back. I'm probably fussing at my sisters or whatever, telling them, sit down, do this. Or, so you're not really talking about anything, but you just want to be on the phone. So that's why I don't think there's any right or wrong way to parent, because every child is different. Every child is different.
So why do you think, back to the question, why do
hormones?
That's what
I think
promiscuity comes from, hormones.
See,
that's what I'm asking about. I got you when you said it's the hormones and it's just something you feeling. But what is it? Is it the peer pressure from your friends? Is it what you're exposed to?
So I think it's a mix of all. But how are we defining promiscuity? Because you being
sexual, or if you're having sex with multiple partners,
right?
That's promiscuity. So if you're not having sex, you're just being sexual. You're trying to get there.
Right.
And if you are having sex, you're having sex with multiple partners.
Right. So
what is that about?
I think that's it definitely should be a clear delineation, because I think it's dangerous to label. We talked about labeling. I think it's dangerous to label. Like, yeah, you might have a young girl who she's being fresh. She might be doing things she's not supposed to be, but she's clearly not having sex. You don't want to put labels on people that aren't.
That's why I cut the line.
Right. Like, it's like calling a child bad. Like, eventually they're going to grow up with that mentality and be like, I'm a bad kid. So I think that's where you have to draw the line. But when it comes to promiscuity, I think it can evolve from a lot of places. And it's not a clear-cut answer. It depends on the child, whether you are just very impressionable and you want acceptance from whether you want acceptance from little boys or you got little girlfriends that's having sex, so you want to like be able to share their stories with them. Another story I'll tell you, I remember when I was probably like 15, 16, around a group of girls, we were like in church talking about sex. There was this one girl, when like the conversation got to her, and like somebody asked her, and I know to this day I would bet money, because she was a good girl. I know she wasn't having sex. When the conversation got to her, was like, I have sex too. But it was like that, just wanting to,
She was eyeing that up from the second person, like counting how
like,
many it's gonna get over to me. I'm gonna say,
or
yeah,
I hope y'all change. I hope
yeah.
the conversation digresses before it gets to me. So is that wanting, now in that case she lied, but what if she was put in a situation to really do it? Would she have done it to fit in? Who knows? So I think that's one of the peer pressure. Two, it could just simply come from access and exposure. Because if you're a child, you can be as sexually stimulated as you want, as sexually curious as you want. But if you don't have the access or the means to make it happen, and you know your parents or whoever it is in your life are able to kind of help you grow and develop, where you learn more, because that's the danger in becoming promiscuous at a young age, I believe, is because you haven't quite had a chance to learn yourself and learn why you shouldn't be that way. So you're participating in an activity. It's like being 11 and smoking weed just to smoke weed. You don't really know why. You're just,
I did that.
exactly, but you didn't know why. You were just doing it to do it. You didn't really. It wasn't like,
This shit was stressing me out. I needed to
get
get
the hell
high.
out of here.
I was like, I need
Yeah,
advice.
you wasn't. Yeah, you wasn't doing. It was just something
This shit
you
was
were
stressing
doing.
me out. Life had me kicked at the ass by 11.
Exactly. So it's the same with having sex at a young age. You're doing it to do it, but you don't really understand the implications of it.
So you think those two? Go ahead.
Wait, and then it could also be trying to fill a void of something. You know, you have people, you have kids who may not have a parent in their life, or you may have kids that yearn for attention, and not in a sense of being accepted, but just yearn for attention or love, and they seek it in the wrong places, and they may think that that's what they're getting by giving their bodies to somebody. And then another issue, unfortunately, is you have, you know, kids who are sexually abused, and that, I think, exacerbates any sexual tensions that they may feel
I
on the
think
inside.
you're hitting on it, but I think you're missing. Like, this is something I looked up the word because I care about it. I want to do some research. You know, when I care about stuff, I research stuff. So I'm gonna read you something, and you tell me, because again, I want your thoughts because you were 13. You're a female. So promiscuity comes from intense experiences. Promiscuity is a form of risk-taking behavior. It has to do with rebellion or an outlet of negative feelings or self-defeating thoughts, self-esteem problems, multiple. If you're having sex, you're having sex with multiple partners, and if you're not having sex, then you want to be sexual for a form of validation. And the irony in that is that it also is effective in doing that. It's effective for self-esteem booster.
But then it
So
can
what's
become dangerous, because if you're using sex as a self-esteem booster,
Well, you're using it for self-validation,
right?
On the reaction, the not the consequences, but the reaction off that you don't know you're going to get from it is the self-esteem booster. That's the irony in it.
Well,
Is that you're not using it for that. You're not saying I'm doing this for self-esteem boosting. You're doing it for validation.
So I think those terms are being misused, because you can't say sex with another person is for self-validation, and sex with another person is for self-esteem, because you're not self-validating. You're allowing this person to validate how you feel about yourself, and you're not exhibiting self-esteem, because you're allowing this other person to determine how you feel about yourself.
If you have low self-esteem, and you being promiscuous gives you validation of you checking your low self-esteem, then how How's that your point? I don't understand
because I think self-esteem comes from self. It comes from within.
that. Right.
Your confidence, your belief in yourself, so when you're using someone else to do that, is that still called self-esteem?
Yes,
They may
because you
be
have low
validating
self-esteem
you.
because you don't know that. You have low self-esteem, so you really don't know what it is. You just feel bad about yourself or think you're not worthy, but you don't tell yourself I have low self-esteem. When I went through that, I didn't know at the time this is low self-esteem. I just thought, okay, I don't feel worthy. People don't love me, or I got issues with my mom, or whatever the fucking case was. I didn't recognize to myself till later that okay, I recognize that that's low self-esteem. But when I'm going through it, I didn't tell myself. I wasn't smart enough to say this is low self-esteem that I'm dealing with.
I'm not disagreeing that it's low self-esteem, but what I'm saying is you can't say that having sex with other people is a self-esteem booster. You can only boost your own self-esteem. It may make you feel validated, but using someone else for your self-esteem. That's all I'm saying. Yes,
I
you
think
do.
you're missing what I'm saying though. You're having sex, right, for a form of self-validation.
So let's stop right there.
Hold on.
When you say self-validation, my interpretation, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, my interpretation is that you're doing that for yourself. But in this case, having sex with someone else, it's no longer self-validation. You're allowing someone else to validate you. So I'm not disagreeing that it's validation, but it's no longer self-validation.
But when you have low self-esteem, you will allow somebody else to validate you for you to feel better. So yes, that can happen.
But can we just not say the word self-validation? Because you're not doing it by yourself. You're allowing somebody to validate you. That's all I'm saying is I'm having difficulty equating that to self-validation because you are allowing someone else to make you feel validated. It's not like you're doing something for yourself where this is making you feel validated. You're including another party. So it's no longer self-validation.
That's how you interpret
Yeah.
it. But obviously, that's not what that's not how it's meant to be. It's not how it's meant to be. It's saying that if you're having sex and you're having sex with multiple partners, that's a form of self-validation. So you having sex, what you get out of that is validation. Okay, now that you're validated, that feeling of validation sneakily behind your back that you don't know nothing about all of a sudden gives you good self-esteem because you feel validated in some way. So no, you didn't consciously say, I'm going to use this person to validate me. You're getting the self-esteem boost unknowingly.
Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not something that you're seeking or you're doing. You're right, because if you were and you crossed that line, it wouldn't be self anymore. But the fact that you don't know you're going to get this boost after you think you're going for validation. Do you follow what I'm saying?
I do. I don't completely.
But what's your thoughts on that? What I just said? I mean, because you got stuck on just the two words.
Well,
I said
yeah,
a whole lot.
I know
because
I just find that when like self-esteem, I just feel that.
Can I say it again?
Should come from yourself. But yep, because there was something else I wanted to comment on.
Promiscuity, intense experiences. Promiscuity is a form of risk-taking behavior. It has to do with rebellion or an outlet of negative feelings or self-defeating thoughts. Self-esteem problems. And if you're having sex, being promiscuous means you're having sex with multiple partners. If you're not having sex and a virgin, it just means that you're being sexual. And it's a form of validation. The irony in that is that you don't know, you're seeking validation, but you don't know all of a sudden you're going to feel this self-esteem boost when you were seeking validation.
So, while yes, I think I agree that that's true. I don't think all of those factors exist in every circumstance. For one person, it may be a form of rebellion. For another person, it may be a form of needing some sort of validation. So, I mean, I don't disagree. I will say, and I think we've talked about this. I went through a period of my life of promiscuity prior to us, and I think I definitely would attribute it to rebellion. It was sort of that thing where it was like, nobody can tell me what to do.
And you knew that then and now, right?
Yeah, I knew it then. It wasn't like in that moment, it was like, I'm going to do this because nobody can tell me what to do. But it was just a
More
mindset.
Of a broad sense of, I'm going to do what I want to do.
In life, period.
Right.
At that time, like I'm not going to think about making good decisions. Like, if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Yeah, I know it's not right. Yeah, I know this isn't something that I should be doing. But if I want to, I'm going to do it, and can't nobody tell me not to. I got put out my house. I was 18. I was living by myself. Well, not really living by myself. I was living with a couple different people, but having to take care of myself. And it was definitely like, bam, I'm grown. You're not going to tell me what to do. No, or nobody can tell me what to do. And I dare you.
Which we look back now, and for every kid who thinks like that,
yeah,
it's the stupidest shit in the
because
world.
I knew,
because you don't know nothing.
Exactly.
You have no way to pull experiences. You got no perspective. You ain't been through shit. You just out on the street.
And the truth was, nobody really could tell me what to do, but they didn't have to. I knew right from wrong, but it was just, and it wasn't like nobody was trying to tell me. Nobody was checking for me.
I was going to say,
nobody was trying to tell me.
Even when I look back, it's like everybody else knew that they couldn't tell me what to do. But I was the only one who was so big-chested about telling everybody, you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Like, which is the dumbest shit ever. Like, when you grown, you just grown. Act grown.
Exactly. But it's like, I got to show you that I'm being grown.
Right.
You know, like, and I used to do dumb stuff. Like, I always made sure, you know, when I used to get high, whatever, I never, ever, ever allowed my sisters to see me in that way. But I would purposely let my dad see me high or drunk to be like, yeah, what you gonna do? Ain't nothing you can do. Which was stupid. Like, again, he wasn't checking for me to try to tell me what to do, but it was just that rebellion.
All right, what's the importance? It's kind of a broad question, but what's the real importance? Because you had grew up with a dad. I didn't, but I'm not a girl. But but my daughter had to endure a lot of that because I wasn't there her entire life.
During her formative years.
Yeah, I didn't raise her. But what's the importance of a father in a daughter's life? I know this, but from a daughter's perspective.
I was gonna say, you know it from a father's perspective. Right. Your father is supposed to show you how a woman is supposed to be treated, in a sense of not just how he treats you as the daughter, but how he treats your mother, how he treats other women in life. That's your first example of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
it's like those cliches are real, and you hear them all the time. Like,
it's absolutely
your dad is the first
real.
person. You know what I mean? Like, how he treats your mom is probably how you gonna think women should be treated and shit like that.
You know, my and I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, but my youngest sister said something years ago. Like, the first man that was ever supposed to love me broke my heart. How am I supposed to trust any other man? And I can't say that I necessarily felt the same way that she felt. You know, our experiences were different. We, you know, different ages, so, and just different lives, even though we were raised together for the most part. But yeah, a father in a daughter's life is extremely important. You know, that man is supposed to show her what her expectation of a man is. He's supposed to set the bar of what she should expect, how she should be treated, how she should be respected.
What she should accept and not accept, yeah.
I just said what she should accept.
You said expect.
I said, okay.
Yeah. You said expect. That's what made me
think expect and accept. Yes. How she should be treated, what she shouldn't accept or allow. But from a man's perspective, because this is not to say that women can't teach their daughters the same thing, but hearing it from a man, hearing it from a man who hopefully knows, you know, how other men are, it hits differently. We just heard, you know, something where, you know, somebody can teach you the same lesson and it's received differently depending on who
Who gives it to you?
who's delivering the message. So hearing that message delivered from a mom, to say, as a woman, this is what you're supposed to do, blah blah, and then hearing it from a man, it's like, wow, it hits differently. So those are the important
So the
things.
same game from your mom. If, let's just say hypothetically, you had the bomb ass mom and a bomb ass dad, and your bomb ass mom sat you down and was like, "Look, this is how you move with men. Ba 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 ba. This is what it's gonna be. Your heart gonna get broke. If you love somebody, you love them. Stand on it. All that good stuff." And your dad told you all the good stuff, like niggas ain't shit. They gonna try to do this. They only want you for like which hits harder? Because you're getting the right game, but what do you think hits harder?
I can't say because I didn't have either, but
Hypothetically.
I will say this. Saying all that is all well and good, because we know I had a situation where my dad talked a good game. Saying all that is all well and good. Being able to watch your actions in real life and see how you move, see how you do things, see how you maneuver through life, see how you treat people, that's what really hits harder.
Mm-hmm.
Not preaching a whole bunch of game, but then me seeing you do otherwise, because then I'm learning how to be conniving, or I'm learning how to not be authentic. I'm learning how to be a liar.
The actions are much more powerful than the words, because I've experienced that. Like, of course, you're young and your mom or parent or dad is telling you what not to do, but when you see them do stuff that they told you not to do, or get mad at you for stuff that they didn't teach you, it's like, damn. Like,
and it's like having a mom saying, "Don't ever let no nigga put their hands on you," blah blah blah, and your mom getting knocked upside her head every day. And because then it's like, all right, I hear what you're saying, and yes, she's telling you right, but it's such a contradiction, especially as a child.
Right.
Like, in your mind, you thinking like, she's telling me this, but she's accepting this. And I think where a lot of what goes wrong for a lot of children as they grow up, whether it's domestic violence, drugs, promiscuity, when you see people partake in all of that and they make it out of it, it creates a false narrative in your mind, and thinking, I ain't, when people say, "Oh, you drive so crazy," and people be like, "You ain't died, did you?" And it's kind of one of those things
you had a terrible accident, and it's like, I lived. Or a person being shot a number of times, and
it gives a false narrative that you'll be okay, and maybe you will, but you don't, just because of, or maybe you think you will, and on the outside, other people may think that you are, but you don't see what that person deals with in the inside. So the mom who might have been getting abused, or the dad who might have been doing drugs, or whatever the situation was, the parents that might have been whatever the situation is, the mom who the dad might have had a second family, the mom was dealing with it, and you feel like, okay, well, my parents were still together and they was happy. You don't know how your mom's heart was crumbling in and inside. You don't know how many nights, you may know how many nights she cried herself to sleep, but she may have hid that from you. So I think that's what's scary, when parents preach one thing to children and they do something different. But as I'm saying, what's also scary? The parents who don't have those conversations at all.
I think it's fucked up when a kid has to watch their parent, like say a mom, go through an abusive relationship. And some kids might say, like you said, go the other way and be like, I know what not to accept. But some kids might have that mindset of, my mom turned out fine, she was all right, so maybe if I go through something like that, I'll be all right.
What I'm saying.
That's fucked up to think. That's what I was just saying. Yeah. It's fucked up to think that I watched my mom go through this terrible relationship where every Friday she got an ass beat, and then they having sex on the weekend, and then I just look at that and don't think to it doesn't register in my head I shouldn't go through that. It registers in my head of, oh, I'll be all right if I do go through that, because my mom was all right.
Or it sets your bar so low, because maybe you do realize, like, nah, that's not what I want in my life. So instead of accepting this, I'm gonna raise my bar just to here. But you don't have anybody else in your life showing you, like, nah, sis, like, set your bar up here. That bar can really be met.
Which goes back to how important a dad is in a daughter's life, because you said that sets the bar. He's supposed to say, this is the bar, and you don't accept anything less. Yeah. So when she does encounter those things, that's nothing to her. She's not even even thinking of accepting that because I've already have the bar of where my
Hopefully.
dad said things should be.
And you know, sometimes we struggle in just society because, you know, just to be honest, all parents ain't good parents. So
Mm-hmm.
just having a dad in a life, and you know, don't get it wrong, there are some single fathers and where the mothers aren't present. So just having any mother in your life,
It's not
it's
necessarily a good thing.
but it's such it muddies the waters because it's such a diabolical situation because it's like, is the child better off without is the child off without having the bad parent?
Yes, I think a child, and this could probably, y'all can leave some comments or some thoughts on what what you think. I think a kid is better off with um no parents than bad parents. And I say that because of, if you have bad parents, they're going to give you bad influences when you're impressionable and give you bad habits and give you their ways when you're somewhat a sponge, and you're going to soak that stuff up because you look up to them and they're teaching you and showing you, but they're showing you shitty ways. They're showing you, how to backstab and cut corners and not be a good friend, and all that kind of bad qualities to have. And I think you have a chance, if that's not being pushed in you, to maybe find good somewhere else. That's just my thought, or like right off the top of my head.
That's why I say it's diabolical, because I don't have an opinion either way. It's a two-sided coin. Like, yeah, having that bad parent can be a bad influence in your life, but I don't know what it's like not to have either parent. My dad was not a good dad. But I don't know what it's like to grow up not knowing my dad. And that's so common in society where you have children who don't know one of their parents. I can't fathom walking around the world and just absolutely not knowing who my other parent is, or knowing who that parent is and them not being a part of your life, or doesn't want anything to do with you. And again, I don't want to just
people in society. Well, not half. That's a big number, but it's a big number of people in society that who carry that. Like,
yeah, and so that's why I'm saying I don't want to say that having no parents, because I don't know what that pain is like.
I think about when I answered that question and you was just talking, I think about Grace Packer. And I think about, okay, here's a girl who parents gave her up, and here she would have been better off, knowing her ending. In hindsight, she would have been better off with no parents than the parents that she got, which was bad parents.
Well, I mean, but that's a completely different situation because she was adopted. So, I mean, she could have been adopted by anybody in the world. But I'm not talking about adoption. I'm talking about your parent, like your birth parent. So her parents gave her up
at birth.
Right. So, I mean, at some point, who knows what her life would have been.
So I'm just saying bad parents adopted her. And I'm not saying like the what ifs and the butterfly effect. I'm just saying the girl, knowing her situation at the end, being dismembered by her foster parent, she would have been better off with no parents than those two.
I understand and I agree.
So that's where my head goes.
That's an isolated situation. Imagine the child whose parents don't want them, and they grow up in the foster care system and they're never adopted, and think, damn, I had no parents, nobody ever wanted me, until they age out the system now because they were never adopted. Like, and again, I'm not saying one end of the spectrum is better than the other. That's why I said it's a difficult situation. Okay. That's why parenting is truly the hardest job, and underrated, underpaid, overwhelming in the world.
There's no
right.
way.
There's no training.
There's no way you can do it right. There's no.
I don't agree. There's no way to do it right.
You lucky. There's the parents out there who did everything right for their kids, who thought they had the best schools, the best attention, all the money, all the love, and they still turned out to be drug addicts.
Right, but you said there's no way to do it right.
Because you can do all that stuff right and still have a bad kid. So what I'm saying is, it's not like you have a book. It's not like you can say, oh, my way is right. So there's no way to do it. No, there's no way to do it right, babe. It's all luck. It's all luck. It's no, you can groom your kid the way you want to and be the best parent you want. You still can get your kid still can turn out wrong. It's still your kid still can turn out bad. It still can your kid can kill somebody and go to jail. And he had she had every advantage that every other kid didn't have. Is all I'm saying. That happens. So it's not like you get a book where you say this is now. There's parents out there who did the best they could, and their kids are great. They succeeded. Everything is great. That's fine. But there's
right,
also
so that's what I'm saying. I think
so how can you say
one,
their way is the right way?
No, you said there's no way to do it right. I think what you meant to say is there's no one way to do it right. Because there are some people that do it right. It doesn't mean their way is right. There are different ways.
Okay,
I think there are different ways to do it right.
Okay.
And
there's no
right or wrong way. You just kind of wing it and hope that what you're doing is right. It's how I feel.
So there's no right way then. If you're winging anything else in life and hoping you get it right, that's luck. So why doesn't apply to children? If you're doing any other aspect in life and winging it, that's luck. So that same thing applies to kids. When you're going and loving your kid and raising them and doing everything right, or trying to give your kid everything that you didn't have, and you're doing what you think is all the right things and it still turns out wrong, what about those parents?
I don't think it's a situation of luck or bad luck. I think they somewhere along the line, it doesn't necessarily mean they did it wrong. It's just one of those things, like you said, there's no manual to it. So you did hopefully, not thinking about the parents who didn't do the best that they could, but hopefully you did the best that you could. And every child is different. Circumstances are different, influences are different. So I agree.
As a parent, though, if you ask any parent that did the best that they could, if they could have done more, they would say yes.
I agree.
They would say yes.
I think I definitely agree with
and
that.
I think about those parents who went out of their way above and beyond to give their kids every advantage in life that they didn't have, and their kids still went south. So what's their feeling? Like, okay, I think I did everything right. Or even if I got advice from somebody and I saw this in somebody else's relationship with their kid and I did exactly what they told me and it turned out like this, it's like it's like I said, you can groom kids as a parent and tell them what to do and all this stuff, but when they get to those decisions, they make them. You're not there. Mm-hmm. They make them. And it's a 50-50 shot whether it's going to be yay or nay. Mm-hmm. Whether it be lay down, have sex, hold these drugs, hold this gun, jump in this car. Like, all the years of you teaching them shit and all the advantages that they had, that moment is them.
I agree.
So it's a gamble. It really is.
One of the things I started to say earlier when we were talking about, your words versus your actions, I think one of the mistakes that parents make sometimes, they don't talk to their kids at all. And I
they don't have the hard conversations.
I think it's a generational thing, and I hope that, these newer generations are breaking out of that, because we know our parents didn't have those hard conversations. It was kind of like, just do what I say, don't question nothing. I'm not going to talk like
our parents hated to explain themselves,
or not, or just sitting down and having a conversation. I think anybody that's our age or close to, like, how many times did your parents say, how are you feeling? How anything on your mind you want to talk about? But
now not even, but they didn't care.
But I'll say there's something that's been circulating and I've seen a lot. It says, your parents were learning to extend grace to them. And it's true. You think, like, we had this conversation the other day about your grandmom and just about generations and this thing. You think, who were their parents and who were their parents? So at some point, you just have to be the generational, I don't even want to say curse breakers, but cycle breakers. So I don't want to say like you're cursed, but not to say everything should be excused that your parents did, but you really, when you think about things, it's like they were learning too. They didn't know how to be parents. Or they can say, oh, I did the best that I could. And that's subjective. Were their decisions really the best? Did you really think that was the best that you could do? Did you really not have any other choices that you thought was better than what you did? But they were learning too.
My point exactly is nobody knows how to be a parent. Nobody knows how to, this person, you got to raise them up. And hope they don't bump their head, and you want to be a soft spot for them, but you also want them to learn, and you it's like most of the decisions you come to with kids, you don't know what the fuck to do. You want to lean this way, you want to lean that way, but you never have this definitive thing, not unless it's an ass whooping or something like that, but you always got a bunch of options for one problem. Yeah, it's fucked up. Yeah, ask you a question. Are you positively changing my life?
Yes.
Give me 3 ways.
One, I have been a force, I'll say, in driving your relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I have helped you to learn how to love accordingly. Meaning, people talk about love languages and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You I think you kind of used to be like, "This is me. This is who I am. This is how I love." So yeah, and so that, and
one more.
I also am making sure or contributing to your wellness by, keeping a smile on your face, keeping your belly full, your balls empty.
Low full. I think I'm positively changing your life. I think that one thing that I do for you is I'm a soft spot for you. You have some downtime sometimes, and I try to pay attention and pick you up and encourage you when you get sad. I try to pay attention to your love languages and make sure you kind of fulfilled in that way.
How is that changing my life, though? Okay. I'm not disagreeing that you do that, but I'm just saying.
You're making me think deep now.
It was your question.
Damn, like you see how she just like put me on the spot.
But
like
it was
that.
Your question.
I know. I changed your life in a lot of ways.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying
that I changed your life financially. Although you work also, we give you credit. And I think that I bring peace to your mind. Like, when you don't have peace in your mind, like I talk you off the cliff.
Okay. It was your question. I thought you was like pow about to shoot them off.
We're not scripted or anything.
I mean, well, I don't know what you're gonna ask, but you do. So,
but I try to be not cheating.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
That's not. You ever say it's not fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
I always want our relationship to be fair.
That's fair.
You hear me? I always want our relationship to be fair. Y'all hear me?
Okay.
I always want our relationship to be fair.
Okay.
Do you give money to homeless people?
I do.
Why?
Because that's what God wants us to do. I don't need to.
God wants us to give money to homeless people? That's what he said?
To people in need, yes.
Oh, okay. I was pretty sad. Elaborate. Because you made me think like you about to say it's a scripture in the Bible that
says, thou shalt give money to homeless people. No. But we should help those that are in need without any judgment, pray for them. So, yeah, I definitely do.
Right. I give money to homeless people also, and it makes me super emotional to see homeless people, like a person with nowhere to go. It makes me think about them cold days where, it's fucking 16 below wind chill, and I just think like, where do they go? Like, because there's not enough shelters, beds, things like that. So when I see something and it's on my heart and I want to help, I do. And yeah, I do it often.
Yeah, and it's not something that I like to. I mean, that's just a part of our life. We do other charitable things is not, it's not something I like to talk about because I don't feel like you should. You know, when you hear about people who are doing charity events and they're recording it and stuff like that, why? Like,
no, we would never do nothing like that.
If that's between you and God, or if it's just to make, and to be honest, you know, I saw somebody say, you know, you giving money to somebody else is not really necessarily for them to feel good, because you may be helping them out in that moment, but you're not really changing their circumstances. It's really to make you feel good that you've done a good thing.
There are no selfless good deeds.
Yeah, so I mean, you're doing it to make yourself feel good, and in the end,
if y'all think it's one out there,
else.
Comment. You know, shoot me a DM, let me know. But there are no selfless good deeds.
Yeah, it makes you
every
feel
selfless
good
deed, every good deed makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But and you know what? Is people get hung up on giving money to homeless people, which is great, but just helping people in need. I will never forget, and you know this, one time when I had to ask for change, and the humility that it required. Like, I was coming from work. This was like pre-cell phone age. And no, it wasn't pre-cell. We were underground, like levels. So phones weren't working. Had to use a payphone. Did not have any change. And like, had to ask people like, excuse me, do you have 50 cents I can have? Not even borrow, because I'm never going to see you again. But just the humility in having to ask somebody that. And when I see people panhandling, I don't care. I don't want to say I don't care. I don't question whether or not they're using it for drugs or alcohol. That's between them and God. If I have it and the scenario fits itself, like sometimes I don't want to dig in my pocketbook while they're standing at my window, because I don't know if they're crazy or not. You're not going to rob me while I'm trying to help you. But if I'm prepared to give, then I will. And I don't even question. I don't think about it.
No, I'm big on that. That's none of my business. You can go right around the corner and buy drugs. That's between you and God. You can go right in the liquor store. That's between you and God.
Yeah.
When did you realize you loved me?
I loved you when I was 12 years old and you had a box and a blonde tail. And you was just so handsome. You look like Stanley from The Cosby Show.
I don't like when you say that because he's dead. But go ahead.
But you did.
There's a lot of other people that I may have looked like. Oh, and plus I was older than him.
You it was nobody else that you looked like. But I think after that, when I realized that I loved you, was when you genuinely, and this was before our relationship, when I won't say you were my brother because I know you hate that.
But you just did.
I said I won't say that. But when we were really friends, and we talked about, like, this was during probably on the tail end of, you know, me being in the streets and me being promiscuous and just me not doing safe things. And you really cared. Like, it wasn't like you were preachy or anything like that, but it was like you knew that I knew I shouldn't be out there. And you really were a friend to me and wanting me. Now, I knew you wanted some coochie, but you really were a friend and wanting me to be on the right track. And that made me love you because I knew you cared about me.
Yeah. I knew I loved you in Ambler. And I know, thinking back then, like, I didn't show it a lot. Like, I was really, really on my tough love thing. But I knew I loved you then, like, when I cared, like, when I took your key, or changed the lock and all, like, stuff like that, because you was coming in late. I just wanted, like, we neither of us had shit, and we was always friends. We always used to not see each other for a while and then cross paths, but, like, I knew then, and I didn't show you then, and I'm sure you know that, like, because you can think about Ambler and how I used to be with you. Like, I wanted you there, but I wasn't necessarily, like,
you had
all
your
over
spurts.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, I just wanted to know where you was at, make sure you was safe, make sure you wasn't doing nothing stupid, you wasn't getting high, that kind of thing. But I knew I loved you.
I smoked weed. Like, you say, like, I was recovering at, like...
This is where we be transparent at, baby. You could say you was smoking a pipe.
No, no. You, like, make sure I wasn't getting high, like...
She wasn't smoking
weed.
a pipe.
Like,
she
that
wasn't
was
smoking
it.
a fucking pipe. I'm just joking with her. She wasn't smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, last segment, 3 grams. This baby situation with the kids trying to finesse him for the candy money. Me personally, I don't think he did anything wrong.
No.
I think the kids blocked their blessing. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. I think the kids blocked their blessing by trying to finesse somebody, and that should be a lesson to kids out there. If you're selling waters, candies, Gatorade, it's the summertime, you know, and you see somebody with jewelry on and you know they got money and big bankroll in their hand, just, you know, they're going to give you what they want to give you anyway. But when you try to steal, which that's a form of stealing, you lying about something to gain more, then yeah, you need to learn a lesson on that.
My biggest issue with it was when your kids are out there and they're trying to be a little entrepreneur and hustling on the side, they should know how to count. He said he had 34 pieces of candy and they were $2 a piece. And when he asked him how much it was, he was like, baby answered and said how much it was. You don't even got to carry the one to add 34 plus 34. So that was like,
I want to take that narrative off though, because a lot of people think that these kids couldn't count because they was young black kids. No. If they was young white kids and hesitated on counting, I don't think the narrative would be, well, maybe they was dumb. Like, why do we, like, if they're out there selling candy like they do every day, they gotta know how to count. Or otherwise they get burnt every day. Like, who's giving them candy to go out there knowing that these kids don't know how to count? And I think the kid was initially saying at first, I get 200. First he said, I get 400 a day in donations.
Yeah,
and he said, okay, what's the candy worth? And then he said, I get 200 a day in donate. Like, fuck the donations.
Yeah.
Fuck what people give you. You get 34 pieces of candy in that box.
I didn't think that he miscounted. I think, like you said from the beginning, he was trying to get over.
Right.
But when he asked him, okay, let's just do the math.
I don't care if pause right there.
Yes, I don't care if he was white, black. I don't care if he was a 57-year-old Asian lady. He paused when he asked him what was 34 times 2. For me, that was like, that should have popped. And maybe,
I think what was going through his head was, if I say 68, then how am I going to justify what just came out my mouth when I said 400?
Maybe. So, I just felt like he should have been faster.
A lot of people were saying, kids dumb. They can't. Like, if that was white kids, you wouldn't be saying they were dumb or can't.
For me, that's not. I didn't even think about. I thought to myself, they too big. I don't care what color they are. They're too big not to know 34 times 2.
That's 1 gram down. 2nd gram, the white lady in Victoria's Secret, who weaponized her whiteness. It's getting late, but we got to get in. Like, this lady really threw a child. I used to have a white friend named Chris, and when he got mad, he would tense up and shake like that, like he couldn't control himself. That, like you were saying the other day, like, that's the same kind of thing where the lady just went berserk after attacking the lady, trying to hit her, and then laying on the floor like she's dead. Like,
chasing her and saying, "Get her away from me." It can't be more evident
of weaponizing white privilege than that. What critical race theory classes should be taught in college, and that video should be shown of, this is what Caucasian people will do when they feel threatened or they're wronged about something and they're caught. I think the woman knew, the phone is on me. I know the power of social media, and I know what's about to happen. Yeah. They're about to show up to my house. I'm about to lose my job. My life's about to be fucked up. And she threw a tantrum.
Not only that, I think it was a couple of things in the video that bothered me. One is the incident of itself was ridiculous. But then how you had the other ladies at the counter who were white, who told the black lady filming, just leave her alone, just get
Right.
away from her. So why do we have to always cower and retract ourselves in order to placate someone else's feelings? She was easily, I'm not good with measurements, but she was easily 10 feet away from the woman.
Probably more.
She was waiting in line to pay for her stuff or to do whatever she had to do. This lady was literally having a conniption on the floor, and they turned to her and say, why don't you just leave her alone? Instead of saying, why don't you calm down? Why don't you get yourself together? Why don't you stop hollering? Why don't you not try to hit someone? Why don't you keep your hands to yourself? But the black woman immediately became the aggressor in the situation, or she had to change her behavior in order
and
for
there was
this
no
woman.
behavior. All she was doing was standing there. So that's the hidden racism that black women are talking about when other white women chime in and think that they're doing something with a situation. Like, why would you even say something to a woman who just got attacked by a woman?
You should have just not said anything at all.
If you were gonna, like, right is right and wrong is wrong. You just saw this woman get attacked. You see she didn't retaliate. You see all she's doing is filming herself to protect herself. Why tell her to leave? When you see that the other lady, the Caucasian lady, is the one causing the scene. The other lady is just standing there talking and filming. The other lady is screaming, hollering, laying on the floor, causing a scene, making you turn around. And you look past that to look at a black woman and say, why don't you leave?
Yeah. And the second part that I had a bigger issue with was when the police came. Again, we know how the police treated her, so I don't even want to address that. But the fact that we always got to be on our own defense. Where's our support? She had to call for the manager to come to talk to first the security guard came and she had to go get the manager and say, like, validate my story. As the manager of the store, why wasn't someone immediately available to say, I was there, I witnessed this, to help? Like, they just left it, like,
why was
go
the
ahead,
video ignored? That was the last thing that the cop asked her for.
I'm not even talking about the video. I'm talking about the people
I understand
that were there. Why was nobody there to support her?
Because they're white. They're white, that's why. But I expect that. So it's like, okay, if this is happening to me, I don't expect these white people. If this lady is telling me I should move, then I don't expect these people to do. But I'm talking about even the manager
of the store. It's like you didn't even step up to. It's within your establishment.
Because that person has a job. It ain't their. They don't own. I get what you're saying. You're a person of authority in here. You should be out here managing the store with this lady screaming and falling on the floor. Right. And how the fuck are you going to chase somebody screaming, get away from me?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
It was ridiculous.
What the fuck is that? Chase somebody screaming, you got to get away from me. Like, I don't know. I would hope if that happened to you, you'd knock the shit out of somebody.
Yep.
Like, I would pay Bell to come get you. Like, cut the phone off and punch somebody for the first time in your life.
It wouldn't be filmed. Don't come after me. It wouldn't be filmed.
You all right, boo?
Yeah. I was proud of myself because I did not go on 6 ABC because I knew. I just knew.
Okay,
And it was I was protecting my own peace. I was proud of myself.
Last gram. If your homegirl likes a man and he don't like her, but he like you, is he off limits?
Yeah.
Really? Nobody had no relationship.
But
you just like said, hey, how you doing? My girlfriend think you cute. And he was like, oh, that's nice. She nice looking, but I'm feeling you. Like, that's no good.
One, you don't have no ties to him, and you obviously weren't interested first because y'all would, like, you tried to hook your homegirl up with her. So just because he think you interested, you want to negate her feelings?
No, not negate her feelings, but just be like, this is what he said. Like, I know you told me to go.
But you did, if you hadn't even mentioned anything about you being interested, now you're interested because he's interested. Now, if y'all both had expressed interest and he approached you first, that's a different situation. But obviously, your initial intent was to connect the two of them because you said, hey, my homegirl.
Right.
So now is it like you want anything that wants you? If you wanted him to begin with, why would you try to...
What if she just was first?
You should have stayed out of it then and allowed him to choose. You put yourself in the middle to try
to... What if it's a hypothetical? What if she just was like, y'all both think he cute, but your homegirl just was like first and saying it, or saying, oh, I saw this guy last night, he was cute. Then when you see him, you're like, oh shit, he is cute, he is fine. And then you say, okay, my homegirl, she like you, and he say, that's cool, she beautiful, but I'm feeling you.
you mind your business, because if you're interested in him, why would you try to?
What if your homegirl asks you to? Can you go take the drink to him and tell him, you know, I'm interested?
Girl, we grown. Go take that man that drink yourself and introduce yourself. We grown. Because what's gonna happen if I go over there and he want me and not you? Like, you better take that.
Booty.
You better take that drink to him yourself.
Oh my God! Good show, good conversation, good talk. These kids.
Teach your boys respect. Teach your daughters respect. Teach your boys and girls self-love, self-validation. Boost their confidence.
I'm first to say I wasn't present the whole ride, and I regret that in any way that I was responsible for. So, in saying that, you know, in hindsight, just be there, you know, for your daughters, your sons. Just be there and try to teach them. Again, ultimately, it's their decision when the shit goes down, but just try to be there and do what you can. That's it. Act 2 the podcast, episode 27. Like, shares, comments, it's all appreciated. Check us out. We be up soon. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us.
You saying that, but it's all they're watching us because it's up. I'm just saying. We're up.
Just the interruption. You know, it's like this production meeting's got to happen because there's got to be some rules. Act 2 the podcast. Like, share, comment. We love our audience. Appreciate y'all. I love her. She love me. Act 2 the podcast, episode 27. If you fuck with us, you fuck with us. If you don't, you should. Peace.